Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That is, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. All praise due to Allah, the guardian, cherisher, evolver, and sustainer of all of the worlds and all of the systems of knowledge. If you enjoyed listening to this particular lecture, we encourage you strongly to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Siddeeq Jihad. That's SIDDEEQ Jihad, Jihad. If you go to that particular channel, you'll see a red subscribe button, and we appreciate it very much if you would click on it and encourage others to do so. I thank you. Imam Siddeeq Jihad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu wa jannatuhu. That is, the peace of God be upon you, the mercy of Allah, His blessings, and His paradise. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. It is the praises to Allah, the guardian evolver, cherisher, sustainer of all the worlds. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. That is, I bear witness there's no deity but the one deity, Allah alone, and there's none like unto him. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and his messenger. The prayers and peace and blessings be upon Muhammad forever and ever, and upon his companions, this female and male companions, the righteous all. Amma ba'd. We thank Allah for blessing us to be here in the Jumu'ah congregation this Friday afternoon. Praise be to Allah. And we know that the Hajj is approaching, and it's appropriate that I speak somewhat about the Hajj, inshallah. So I'm speaking about it in an indirect way by reciting what I'm about to recite to you now. These is the surah, probably the verses from Baqarah, surah 2, verse 148 through 150. And I'll just do it in English and then maybe make some comments on some of the Arabic words. So in translation it says, to each is a goal to which Allah turns him. So this word wajhatun is translated as goal, wajhatun. And this word relates to the word face, wajhun is face. So clearly if you are understanding the message, not only is Allah saying to each is a goal, but Allah saying to each is a face. And the face can be transferred to be the character. To each of us is a character. Each of us have moral and immoral crises in our lives. Should I do this or should I do that? Am I going to do what's right or am I going to do what's wrong? It's just like the Star Wars movie, a fight between good and evil. So in all of our lives, we are fighting against evil, inshallah. But some of us, we just go all the way to evil and say the hell about being moral and being right. That happens. Perhaps it has happened to Donald Trump. Perhaps that has happened to him. Allah knows. I think they're still counting, but they said that he has said something like 4,000 and something lies since he's been in the office. So we don't know if he has just decided I'm going to be evil and I don't care, and I'll just suffer the consequences of what's going to happen to me when I'm dead and gone. So continuing the ayah, it says, to each is a goal to which Allah turns him. Then strive together as in a race toward all that is good. Wheresoever you are, Allah will bring you together, for Allah hath power over all things. So if you heard what I said, it said, then strive together, and then in parentheses, Abdul-Munim says, as in a race. It's not really a race between you and me. It's an internal race. How do I know it's an internal race? Because Allah uses the ta in that particular command pattern. Fastabiqul. That ta means, so strive internally in yourself toward all that is good. And it's nice if you reach the finish line and a photo finish with me and we all get there and we do the same amount of good, alhamdulillah. So I don't want to do good and say, well, I want to do better than him and I want him to do evil. No, that's not the kind of race, that's not the kind of rivalry we as Muslims want to have. We all want to encourage one another toward good and toward righteousness, right? And Allah has said in the Qur'an, or revealed in the Qur'an, Wala asr, I, Allah, I swear by time, human beings, by the time I have created, Innal insana lafi khusr. Surely you will be in a state of loss, a state of catastrophic loss, if you and I do not have faith and practice righteous deeds and enjoin each other in the mutual teachings of truth, patience, and constancy. So here Allah is swearing that I am the one who made time, and I know that you will lose your soul. You will have a catastrophic loss in the end if you do not have faith and practice righteous deeds. And then he's telling us, وَتَوَصَّوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَصَّوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. So we are told by Allah, commanded by Allah, to encourage each other, to exhort one another to what is good, and truth, and patience, and constancy. Praise be to Allah. So this ayah is telling you that Allah is conceding that we all have levels of character and honor and lack thereof. You got all shades of people in this world, you know. So the next ayah tells us, so whenever you start forth, turn your character, turn your face in that direction of the sacred masjid, the sacred mosque, they translated here. I don't like to say mosque. We should force this community or this society to call our place of worship what it is, what Allah has said it is. It's masjid. It's not mosque. It's not a French word that they call it mosque. It's masjid, a place where sajda occurs. That's what the masjid is. A place where you put your head on the floor. But then we know too that the whole universe is a masjid of Allah. Praise be to Allah. So it says again, so whenever you start forth, turn your face in the direction of the sacred masjid. That is indeed the truth from thy Lord, and Allah is not unmindful of what you do. So clearly Allah is talking about the moral issues here. To each we have a character, so strive in this race toward the good, and whether you do bad or good, Allah is not unmindful of what we do. So he's commanding us to turn our face toward that masjid. But why is he asking us to turn our face toward that masjid? The question would be, what does that masjid represent? That masjid represents the purity of the human nature in its pure form, in the form that you and I had when we came out of the wombs of our mothers. We were undefiled. We had no sin on us, no wickedness on us. We weren't born in sin and shaped in iniquity, as the Bible language suggests. We were pure. We were undefiled. So Allah is telling us to turn your character toward the cognizance of what you were, the awareness of what you were when you came out of your mother, whatever number of years ago you came out. All right? So, we understand that the reason why we turn our face that way is not the physical face, but we're turning our character toward that way. So in other words, every time you go out of the house, that don't mean that you're supposed to say, I got to turn my face toward the Kaaba. Where's the Kaaba at, you know? No, we don't know where the Kaaba is all of the time. You know, we get mixed up in directional stuff, right? So clearly Allah is emphasizing, turn your character toward that place and what it represents, inshallah. And then the next ayah says, so whenever you start forth, turn thy face in that direction of the sacred masjid. Told us a second time to turn our face that way, right? This is the next ayah I'm talking about. And then it says, and whatsoever you are, turn your face thither. That's old English. But thither means turn your face that way. Again, turn your character toward that way. And then he tells us in this ayah why we should turn our character toward that purity that house represents. So that there will be no grounds of dispute against you among the people. So you don't want nobody to be disputing against you. You're doing right. Nobody should dispute against you, right? But Allah gives us the reality in the following portion of this ayah. Except from those who are bent on wickedness. They're going to have a dispute against you. When Trump tells a lie and the people say that's a lie, then he got a dispute because you acknowledge that he's telling a lie, right? So Allah is letting us know that there's going to always be people existing that are bent on wickedness, bent on wanting to push you or push the society toward the wrong way. Then Allah says, seeing that they're going to have this dispute against you, they're bent on wickedness, He says, but fear them not. That's a powerful God telling you, don't be fearing those wicked people. Fear them not, but fear me, and that I may complete my favors on you, and you may consent to be guided. So I'm trying to indicate to you that in this context, which Hatun is suggesting to each is a character. And then when Allah says, turn thy face that way, it doesn't mean a physical face, but turn your character toward that way. And you know as well as I know, many times you can look on the face of a person. Not all the time. Say, that dude got bad character. That dude has a criminal mind. He's batting his eyes around like he looks like he's trying to steal something, you know. Sometimes you be able to get the intent of a person from looking at their face. That's obvious. If you have been around a while and you've studied the science of human nature and whatnot, you pick up certain stuff and you are aware. And sometimes you can see a person and say, I probably can give a caricature of that person. That person is probably a hard-shell Baptist, meaning that he's been on Christianity and he's probably been taught to either turn the other cheek type of guy. And if you hit him, he probably run and cry and run, you know. So I'm just saying to you that the face demonstrates the character many times. Praise be to Allah. So we know that this Hajj is something that Allah has told us that we should visit the sacred precincts at least once in a lifetime, if we can afford it. And so, obviously, if we can't afford it, would that make you or I an incomplete Muslim? We would have to say no, because Allah said, you go if you can afford it. So we know that when you go, and when I go, what we are doing is going there to renew ourselves and to repair ourselves and try to get on the clean slate with Allah, and from there on, we try to be more moral and more upright than what we were before we went to the Hajj. That's one of the purposes of the Hajj. Another purpose of the Hajj is for you to eyeball the Chinese, the Mexican, the African, the Russian, all of these human ethnic groups, all in unison saying, La ilaha illallah. No big I's and no little U's. All of the men are dressed in white. You can't tell the king from the poor person. But Allah allows the women to wear different garments, according to the tradition anyway. Why that is, I don't know. But we know that the women aren't forced or encouraged or insisting upon having a situation where they all wear the white. Praise be to Allah. It's very interesting to know that when you do the circumambulations around the Kaaba, it begins at Hagar's skirt. They call the place when you start off as Hagar's skirt. I've never been to Hajj. I was planning on going, and they had a oil crisis and a war over there, and I decided not to go that year, and I haven't went yet. But I have a son that went, and I know other people that have gone. Praise be to Allah. And so many of you right here in this audience have gone to the Hajj. Praise be to Allah. So, this black stone that's in the one of the corners, I believe it's the northeast corner if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. It may not be the northeast corner. But anyway, this stone that is in the corner, there's a hadith where it says that the Prophet reportedly said And notice I said he reportedly said this, that the black stone, when it was in heaven, it was pure and white as milk. This black stone, when it was in heaven, it was pure. But when it descended and when it came down and reached the earth, it says in the Hadith language that the sins of the human beings tarnished it. I could say blackened it. Tarnished it or blackened it. In other words, it was changed. This stone that was up in the heavens, when it came down here, it was blackened or tarnished by what? The sins and the wickedness of human beings. All right? So you know, reality speaking, if I steal a chicken, I can't turn the stone black because of that. Right? So the sins will have no effect upon the black stone. The black stone is going to be what it's going to be. So it must be some metaphorical message in this story. And I believe, O Muslims, that Allah revealed to the Prophet this metaphor to put it on your mind that this black stone is representative of the pure human nature that you had when you were in the heavenly comforts of your mama. When you were there, you were pure and you were white, you were undefiled. Then you got out in the world and you start seeing your cousins and your brothers and everybody doing stuff that was wrong, and you came away. I came away. We came away from the original good nature that we had. None of us are walking around here pure and undefiled as we were when we came out whatever number of years ago. So Prophet Muhammad is indicating to you and I, as the Qur'an has indicated, that we all come here fi ahsani taqweem. He created us in the best of form, in the best of modes, but he allows us to become as falasafilin, the lowest of the low, when we deviate from what he has intended for our lives in terms of morals and honor and integrity and so on. So that hadith is to be looked at, I believe, O Muslims, as a metaphor. Praise be to Allah. So in continuing, we have a beautiful ayah in the Qur'an speaking of Ibrahim. And it's reported Ibrahim, I'll just read the verse. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ دِينًا مِمَّنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Translated, Allah is asking you and I the question. And who can be better in deen, in a way of life, in religion, than one who submits his whole self to Allah, does good, and follows the way of Ibrahim? Didn't even say follow the way of Muhammad, did it? So obviously Allah is putting Muhammad and Ibrahim on the same level, right? And we know that Ibrahim came before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then it says Ibrahim was the one who was true in faith. He was Hanifan. And then the concluding part of the ayah says, for Allah did take Abraham for a vessel that was Khalilan, open. He was open. So I'm going away from the translation, isn't I? Aren't I should say. Most of the people say that this is saying that Allah took Ibrahim as a friend. A friend. So you say a friend, then I say, well, you're my partner, you're my friend. That's the same thing, right? That's my buddy. That's my friend, right? So the reason why a person would be your friend is because that person is open to you. Say, brother, your pants is dirty today, man. You shouldn't be going out in the public square with your pants dirty. Brother, your breath smells a little bad today, you know. That's what a friend is, a person who is open to you to let you know where you're going off at. and encouraging you to the right. So I'm suggesting to you that this is saying that Allah took Abraham as an open vessel to him. But to say that he was a friend, it's bordering on the idea of the shirk idea. Because if Muhammad was what he was, why don't we call him a friend? Why don't we call Musa a friend? Why can I be a friend if I try to be right and try to follow the way of Ibrahim? So if you understand something about the Arabic grammar, this word khalilan is what we call the hal condition. I mean, how did Allah perceive Abraham? How did Allah know Ibrahim to be? He knew him to be open. And if you look up the word khalila, it means something that is open, something that is wide open. And Allah tells you in the Qur'an, tells me in the Qur'an, see how I open up the clouds and cause rain to come down from the sky? He uses the word khalila. Talking about he opens this up. So if I say to you that Ibrahim was open to Allah, you know he was open to Allah if you follow the Qur'an, where Allah says that he was looking for the deity. And he saw the stars, right? And he said, oh, how wonderful this is. And then when the morning came, the stars were gone. He said, that could not be my God. And then he carried it on into seeing the sun in high splendor. And then at Maghrib time, it set. He said, that can't be my deity either, right? And he concluded that I worship the one that causes these things to come out to light and fade out and fizzle out. That's the one that I worship. So Ibrahim is known as a man of science, a man of morals, and a man of science. And could you imagine if all of us were that, how we have a better world? Moral people and scientifically focused in trying to find the truth of what all Allah has created, trying to find the truth and the utility of it all. Allahumma nasta'inuka wa nastaghfiruka wa nu'minu bika wa natawakkalu alayka wa nufni alayka wa nashkuruka wa la nakfuruka. Oh Allah, we ask for your help, we ask for your forgiveness. We believe in you, we trust in you, and we extol and exalt you in the best manner. We are thankful to you, Allah, and we are not ungrateful. And as I indicated to you, one of the purposes of the Hajj is to recognize the oneness of the human family. So here Allah reveals in the Qur'an, Inna hadhihi ummatukum ummatan wahidatan wa ana rabbukum fa'abuduni. Saying to us, surely, surely, emphatic speech. Inna means surely. Don't hesitate to think that this is not true. Surely, this community of you all is one single community, and I am your Rabb and cherisher, therefore serve me and no other. Now here Abdullah Yusuf Ali puts in his translation, verily this brotherhood of yours is one. What about the sisterhood? You know, why would he mistranslate the word ummatukum and translate as brotherhood when most of us know that we translate it as community? Was he a male chauvinist? I don't know. But we know that this word is ummatukum, you all's community. All right? So follow this, and this is beautiful to appreciate because of the structure of this particular ayah. Here Allah tells us, Inna hadhihi ummatukum. So surely you all's community is one community. He tells us that in that ummatukum. Then he says, ummatan, and he puts one community again there. And then he puts wahidatan. So he's telling you and I, in three successive words, you are one community. You all are one community, one community. And we must get it at some point in our sojourn as human beings here on this earth or in this universe. Allah is making it clear that we are one community and we have to get it. And maybe some of us will get it when we go to Hajj. But we should get it before we go and just continue it after going to the Hajj and preparing ourselves and coming on back into the fold of this world or wherever we live. Praise be to Allah. So in concluding, I see the time is gone. These are some wonderful ayahs that I, cherish and really appreciate, given the fact of how they came to me during Ramadan many years ago. But anyway, you know, if you follow the scripture, that water is a metaphor for morals. When water moves, it has a way of purifying itself from the impurities that may have settled in it. We know that Allah takes this water from the urinals, from the dirt and all of that, and raises it up into a fine mist that purifies it up in the clouds and have it rain back down. This pure rain charged with blessings, inshallah. So here in these ayahs it says, Allah gives us 3 command ayahs. Say, see you if Allah were to destroy me, this is Muhammad talking, and those with me, or if he bestows his mercy on us, yet who can deliver the unbelievers from a grievous penalty? In other words, you got a chance if you believe in Allah. You got a chance because of his mercy. We got a chance because of his mercy. But the unbelievers, they don't have anyone to bail them out. So then the next ayah says, say, he is Allah, most gracious. We have believed in him, and on him have we put our trust. So soon will you know which of us it is that is dalalun mubin, in manifest, clear error, clearly astray. So Muhammad is telling them, we're going to find out one day who's in manifest error, who the believers are and who the disbelievers are, and who's going to hell and who's going to Jannah. And then concluding this particular surah, Surah Al-Mulk, it says, say, see you, listen to this, very beautiful. See you if your stream, if you had a stream in front of your home, be some morning loss, like it went away. You come out, where's that nice body of water I had there? Where I could bathe or where I could fish or whatever, Some morning loss, Abdullah Yusuf says, in the underground earth. Who then could supply you with clear flowing water? You all know the answer, right? Only Allah could do it, right? So look at the flow of this. Now we told you, we know from science, that water is pushed up into the atmosphere by Allah. The evaporation process, we know about that. Steam and all of that, right? But here, Allah is flipping the idea, saying, what if you woke up one morning and your water, it didn't go up, but it went underground. It went the reverse of the way it should go. But even the water that's in the earth, it goes in the earth, it's sucked up too over time, So the point is that this is talking about, what if you woke up one morning and you didn't have a moral nature? It went underground. You lost it. You couldn't recover it. Who then could give you a moral nature after that? Who then could give you a position in your life where you say, okay, I've been causing my morals to go down, underground. Now this is the point where I want it now to be restored and renewed, and want to regard and appreciate this moral nature Allah has given me and cherish it. So Allah wants us to cherish this moral nature, this crisis that we have, and we want to be victorious over this moral dilemma where we fight doing right as opposed to doing wrong. And we want to do right more so than wrong. And in concluding, we know Allah tells us in the Qur-aan, a lot of people don't even like to hear this. Allah says, if your good deeds shall be found heavier than your bad deeds, فَهُوَ فِي شَيْءٍ رَاضِيَةٍ, you will be in a state of pleasure. And then it says, if your bad deeds outweigh your good deeds, you will have a bottomless pit, a mother in the bottomless pit to nurture you up out of that pit of fire. All right? So that's telling you and I that I can do 51% good and 49% bad and make it. Because my good deeds will be heavier than my bad. That's logic, right? 51-49, I can make it. But the problem is, you and I don't know what Allah is going to chalk up as a good deed and what He's going to punish us for as a bad deed. So that's why Allah is telling us that we should engage in doing the good. And we want to have it, inshallah, a 90-10 situation if we could. We don't want to go 50-50. But that would be putting ourselves in the state of being a gambler. I'm going to do good half of the day today, and I'm going to act the fool half of the day. You know, that's not what we want to do. We want to try our best to do as good as we can, all the time, inshallah. And that's why Allah designed these pillars that we have, for this very reason, to increase our morals, increase our honor, and increase our integrity. And at the same time, Allah reminds you and I, seek the hereafter, seek the life to come, but وَلَا تَنْسَى نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. And don't forget your share of the material world. So Allah wants us to have material stuff, but we don't want to be so far into material we forget about morals and honor and obeying Allah. Become.
I want to bring to our attention achievement, publication that has been produced, and is produced for our community, mainly for our community, but it will serve anybody who wants some help from the material that are put into this publication. And the book is called The Language of Revelation, Lugatul Tanzil, the language of translation. And it is by a brother that I've known to be dedicated and devoted to the study of Qur-aanic Arabic and the teaching of that subject to our students and to grown-ups as well. And that is Brother Siddeeq Jihad. I think most of us know him here. Brother Siddeeq Jihad, will you please stand and face the audience? So, yeah, this is Brother Siddeeq Jihad. So I highly recommend this book for you all who are studying grown-ups, but also for our youngsters who are studying in separate organized Quranic studies classes, and who are also studying in school system, our school system, Claire Muhammad school system, Claire Muhammad schools, and like the one in Atlanta and Washington, D.C., Chicago, and many places. I highly recommend this book, The Language of Revelation. It's Quranic Arabic with lessons and studies to improve your ability to read the Qur'an and get more understanding, and to qualify yourself, inshallah, to be a teacher one day. Because out of you, from you who are interested in Quranic Arabic, we are going to get our next generation of teachers and imams and leaders, you know. So Allah be with you all and bless you to benefit from these wonderful projects and publications that our community is producing. This is one, we have others that I have seen, and grateful to Allah for students and scholars like our brother Siddeeq Jihad. Congratulations, my brother.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Imam Siddeeq Jihad. You can secure the book by going to our website, www.siddeeqjihad.com. That's SIDDEEQ, Jihad, JIHAD.com. Or you can send a postal money order or any type of money order to Post Office Box 401165, Redford, REDFORD, Michigan 48240. My email address is Siddeeq, that's SIDDEEQ at MSN.com. And the phone number where we can be reached is 313-532-5246. I thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.